In the cesspool of online political commentary, few figures embody intellectual dishonesty and manipulative sleaze quite like Hasan Piker, that smug, overrated propagandist who masquerades as a leftist while grifting off his gullible fan base. It's no wonder Asmongold Hoyt, a streamer with actual integrity and a spine, repeatedly shuts down any notion of debating this whiny charlatan. Asmongold has made it crystal clear. Why waste time engaging with a liar who twists facts into caricatures and argues in such blatant bad faith that it's practically his brand? Piker, that insufferable manipulator, isn't worth the oxygen, let alone a platform. Let's dissect exactly why Asmongold is right to avoid this toxic clown, hurling well-deserved insults at Piker every step of the way, backed by the mountains of evidence exposing his deceitful tactics. Tactics, mind you, he has done in other debates, in which case he often repeats. But it should be known that the reason I couldn't care less about Hasan Piker's actual political positions, whether I agree with any of them or not, is completely irrelevant, because the man is an irredeemable slimeball in how he presents them. It's the relentless bad faith that makes him utterly contemptible, the constant strawmanning, the deliberate misrepresentations of opponents' views, the smug interruptions and talking over people to bury their points before they can land, and the manipulative propaganda tactics he deploys like a cheap grifter desperate for clips and donations. Piker doesn't debate. He performs a scripted takedown in front of his sycophantic echo chamber, twisting facts, projecting his own dishonesty onto others, and dodging any real accountability with whiny deflections. You could hand him the most reasonable, evidence-based argument in the world, and he'd still lie, and caricature it into oblivion because winning the performance matters more to him than truth or intellectual honesty. First off, Piker's entire shtick revolves around bad faith arguments that make even the most shameless con artists blush. This hypocritical hack loves to misrepresent opponents' views, turning nuanced positions into absurd strawmen just to win in the eyes of his echo chamber audience. Take his infamous fallout with fellow streamer Destiny over Kamala Harris. Piker peddled outright lies and propaganda, dismissing fact checks as semantics, while accusing others of bad faith classic projection from this slimy propagandist. He's been called out repeatedly for spreading disinformation on par with far-right nutjobs, like equating Tibet to the Confederate South or claiming Iran has better trans rights than the UC. Pure delusional nonsense designed to manipulate his viewers into swallowing his biased narrative. Asmongold nailed it when he said debating Piker is pointless because he lies, you just lie. Why deal with people that lie? Why would anyone with a brain cell bother platforming this bad faith buffoon, who treats debates like a rigged game where he screams over facts to hide his intellectual bankruptcy? But Piker's manipulation doesn't stop at twisting words. He's a master propagandist who exploits every opportunity to push his agenda, no matter how dishonest. This champagne socialist, who rakes in millions while preaching against wealth inequality, functions as a Bernie or bust propaganda machine, gaslighting his audience into nihilism and division on the left. He's been accused of grifting, hypocrisy, and even creating videos in bad faith to smear allies, all while dodging accountability like the coward he is. Remember when he doubled down on saying Americans deserved 9/11ths? Or justified Russia's annexation of Crimea? That's not commentary. That's vile propaganda from a manipulator who preys on impressionable viewers. Asmongold sees through this garbage, refusing to give Piker a platform to lie, because engaging would only amplify this fraud's deceitful drivel. Piker isn't a debater. He's a snake oil salesman peddling outrage for clicks, and Asmongold is too smart to fall for his manipulative traps. And let's not forget how this domineering loudmouth talks over everyone to bury their points under his endless, narcissistic rants. Piker's streams are infamous for his special policy for guests, where he dominates conversations like a petulant child, afraid of being challenged. He's been called out in interviews for evasive tactics and violent rhetoric, yelling passionately only to backpedal with "I didn't mean it literally." What a spineless weasel. Even his own subscribers roast him for being evasive and treating dissent like a threat, barking orders like "you're not behaving correctly," as if his chat were trained dogs. In debates, he interrupts, steamrolls, and drowns out opponents to hide how flimsy his points are. Asmongold has pointed this out perfectly. Piker creates a caricature of what my point of view is, and engages in emotionally charged, disingenuous framing. Why debate a yapping manipulator who talks over you to obscure the truth? It's like arguing with a brick wall that's also a megaphone, pointless and infuriating. Piker's defenders might whine that he's just passionate, but that's code for being an unhinged propagandist who can't handle real scrutiny. This is the same idiot who's crashed out over Asmongold multiple times, obsessing like a stalker, while Asmongold laughs it off. Tectone summed it up brilliantly. Nobody wants to debate a liar. You are a whiny little b****, TCH. Asmongold echoes this, refusing to play into Piker's game because it's rigged with bad faith, manipulation, and interruptions. Piker isn't a worthy opponent. He's a pathetic grifter who divides the left with his toxic BS, all while hiding behind his cult-like fan base that excuses his every flaw. In this revealing clip from a recent stream, we're plunging headfirst into the toxic swamp of Hasan Piker's so-called debate style, where he slithers into Asmongold's chat to spew his manipulative nonsense about a tragic police shooting in Minneapolis involving a woman who attempted to flee. As we dissect this footage frame by frame, we'll expose how Piker, that insufferable propagandist, dodges straightforward questions, peddles reckless advice that endangers lives, and employs his arsenal of bad faith tricks to derail any semblance of honest discussion. All while Asmongold tries to inject some sanity and warn Piker's gullible audience against following this clown's suicidal suggestions.
What would you have done if you were in her situation and you were the one driving the car?
I would have driven away.
I'm not talking as the
as
officer.
well, just as she was trying to do. Many people would have done the same. She was clearly
I told you already the appropriate way
trying
of doing this by the LEO
to
standards.
drive away.
You have. You've told me multiple times, but you haven't said what you would do. Because you know the answer to that, and it's obvious. You would have gotten out of the car like a normal person, and you would have said, okay, I'm going to comply with the police.
The person
That's what
who
you would have done.
has
But you don't
power
want to answer that
and
because it paints her in a bad
responsibility
light.
to de-escalate is the LEO in this situation.
I would have driven away as well. Oh, he said, oh, you would have driven away as well, just as she was trying to do. Many people would have done the same. She was cruelly trying to drive away. The person in power has the responsibility to de-escalate and do the LEO. Listen, guys, anybody in the Assange chat, listen, I'm going to say this.
All right, let's hear it.
Please, guys, do not take this advice. This is such a bad idea. I promise you. Hasan's got a lot of money. He's got tons of money. He can afford this. It's okay.
I can afford being shot in the face? What the fuck are you talking about?
No. Again, we've seen this clip again. And there it is. Yes, obviously they hit him. Yeah, let's not even get into that. Please, guys, do not take his advice. If a law enforcement officer tells you to stop the vehicle and to, get out of the car, do not randomly drive away. You will ruin your life. They're going to find you. They'll run your plates. They're going to arrest you. You're going to have to go to court. You're going to go to jail. Potentially. Maybe you won't. It will fuck up your whole life. Do not do this. Sorry. Comply or die. Always W. Okay, you're getting untimed out, all right?
Piker's manipulation shines through like the sleazy grift it is, as he deliberately twists the conversation to paint himself as the righteous defender of the oppressed, while avoiding any personal accountability. When Asmongold repeatedly asks what Piker would do in the woman's shoes, comply or flee, this hypocritical manipulator evades the question entirely, redirecting to police de-escalation tactics as if that's relevant to his own hypothetical behavior. It's classic Piker. He knows admitting he'd comply would undermine his narrative that the woman was justified in driving away. So he manipulates the framing to make Asmongold seem like the bootlicker, all while pushing a dangerous lie that fleeing is a viable option. This isn't debate. It's manipulative theater designed to gaslight viewers into believing resistance is heroic, even if it gets them killed, proving once again that Piker is a fraud who exploits tragedies for clout. Then there's Piker's obnoxious habit of talking over and interrupting, which he deploys here like a petulant child afraid of losing control. Even in text chat, this loudmouth manages to steamroll by spamming deflections and snide remarks, cutting off Asmongold's points before they can fully land, such as when Asmongold warns the chat not to follow Piker's advice, and Piker immediately jumps in with "What are you talking about?" and irrelevant tangents about the officer hitting someone. He doesn't let Asmongold finish emphasizing the risks of fleeing, instead drowning the exchange in his repetitive mockery like "comply or die," which he parrots to caricature and bury the valid warning. This talking over tactic isn't just rude. It's a deliberate strategy from this domineering manipulator to prevent any real scrutiny of his idiotic positions, turning what could be a productive dialogue into a one-sided rant. Beyond that, Piker unleashes a barrage of various slimy tactics that highlight his bad faith core, from strawmanning Asmongold's practical advice as authoritarian bootlicking to projecting his own evasion onto others while claiming moral superiority. He employs false equivalencies, like implying the shooting was unjustified without addressing the woman's role in escalating by driving away, and uses emotional, loaded language to rally his echo chamber against power structures, conveniently ignoring how his many people would drive away. He employs false equivalencies, like implying the shooting was unjustified without addressing the woman's role in escalating by driving away, and uses emotional, loaded language to rally his echo chamber against power structures, conveniently ignoring how his many people would drive away. In the end, Asmongold's refusal to debate this manipulative, bad faith propagandist is a masterclass in self-respect. Why elevate a clown like Piker, who talks over people, spreads lies, and exploits controversies for views? Asmongold knows better than to stoop to the level of this insufferable fraud. Piker can keep yapping in his echo chamber. The rest of us, and especially Asmongold, are better off ignoring the noise from this whiny manipulator.